So caution, I don't assume responsibility for your product or your person. Please follow the directions carefully, and if something feels wrong, please stop, ask a question, whatever. Tools needed for this: small Phillips head screwdriver, a soldering iron, 3mm diode LEDs, scissors or something to clip with, clippers will be fine. Optional pieces: needle nose pliers with rubber grips, and a permanent marker. I'll tell you why you need these things, the optional pieces, as I go along. The needed tools, you'll see them. Let's go ahead and get started. So, quick story, when I got Apollo, worked great. LED in the head though, a bit flickery, went out within a day of getting it. Mastermate was great about rushing another one over and things like that. They actually rushed over two heads, and one of the two had the same problem. So I'm glad they sent two. I might have ended up with two heads that don't work. But you can see it works fine now, works with the clicker and stuff like that. But I had a fix in place. I was just going to swap out the LED in case they weren't able to get one in time. I wanted to review it as fast as possible, this and that. But then another user on TFW said that he had the same problem. So I'm just going to go ahead and do the fix, share how I fix it, etc., etc. I'm clicking it. You can see it doesn't work. It sucks. It has batteries in it. They're fresh, same 64 pack or whatever that I got the other ones with. Alright, I've already taken the two small screws out. Now the screwdriver of my choice, the Ennis hand screwdriver for MP10, comes with a great one. It's magnetized, really small, and it seems to get ones that are way bigger than they should be too. But basically you take out those screws, and this orange piece here, it does come out. It goes in pretty snug. You technically don't even really need screws, but they're nice for security purposes, and when you get to moving around and mouth around and stuff like that. So, got it out. That's what it looks like. Alright. Now what we have to do is get the clicker out, or the switch. But before that, we're going to make sure it's the LED. So you can use a multimeter, send some volts to it, but you might burn out the LED if it does work. What I do, I just take another LED and I attach it to the prongs while it's pressed down and supposed to be sending powers, and see if it works. And as you can see, when I get the two prongs attached to the other two prongs, it works. It lights up. It's fine. So that means it's the LED that's out, and obviously not the clicker or anything like that, or else it wouldn't be getting power. Period. That's how you can tell. Alright? If that doesn't work and you try it with multiple diodes and things like that, by all means, it might be the clicker. I don't see why it wouldn't work, but there you go. And just so you know, these 3mm diode LEDs, you want to get red, but they're like $7 shipped on Amazon for $200. It's crazy. Like, they're so cheap. So, I understand having to fix things, but I'd rather spend $7 and have something not working. Now, what I'm doing here, I noted which end of the LED was attached to the prong, the negative end, so I'm marking that. Alright, you might have a better memory than me and just be able to keep it turned the right way and stuff like that, but, for the sake of this video, went ahead and marked it. It's not something I really want to do twice. And this is my first run through too, so. Now what we're doing is actually getting the LED as well as the switch out. So you push the LED out first, pull the switch down, and then the prongs, they just pull up and out. Alright, now the negative one, the one on the far end there, away from the clicker, you don't have to worry about much. If it breaks off, that's fine. We're detaching it anyway. But the one attached to the wire, the positive, that one you want to be more careful with. You don't want to break that off the wire, or else you're going to have to resolder that too. And, not really hard, but more work than you have to. So, I'm just wiggling that out. And there you go. That's what you should have. Okay? Next, we're going to detach the LED to get the new one attached. Alright, so solder and iron, I'd say at this point it's been warming up for about 5 minutes. It warms up pretty fast. But what you want to do, just lightly raise it to the solder, and it softens up. Solder is crazy. It softens and hardens really quick. It heats up and cools down really quick. So watch your hands, and if you're not comfortable, use those needle nose pliers. The rubber grips will actually keep it from burning you. Seeing that heat through. So I'm pretty comfortable with it. Do a lot of computer work, things like that, and yeah, I kind of know how to get in and out when it comes to soldering. Alright, And you can see even there, I'm moving my hand away every so often. Because you can feel, like, just the heat coming from it. It's hot as shit. If you touch it, you will get burned. So don't. Alright, I'm kind of off screen there, but what I'm doing, where the solder is, on that prong, I'm just pressing it down on there so it softens up, and boom. You want to remove it as quick and as clean as possible because you don't really want to get the solder removed with the prong. Then you have to kind of do some finagling to get the solder back on to where it should be. But that's what you should have. Alright, all the pieces, no LED. Now I've got the new LED there. Alright, we've marked that negative in so I know what one's going on. Alright. And it's going to be prong side up when you're reattaching it, just like you took it off. And I did use the scissors to snip it down some. They were a bit long, but you could see where you need to snip it to just by comparing it to the other one. That's not that big of a deal. That's not something I have to show. Alright, and there you go. First end's attached. Now what I do, I bend it up like the other one was. I slip it through. And then I'm going to get the LED into the hole first. Alright. Normally you reverse things, but with this one, LED is the first thing you push out, first thing you push back in. I'm just using my screwdriver to push it back in. Had to raise it up higher to my eyes. It's really small. You can tell when it's in. It's pretty easy. And then that, just go ahead and slide it back in. The two sides, they do just slide back down. I'm using my screwdriver to press it down, but you'll see it. I mean, nothing I'm doing isn't blatant once you have it in hand. I'm just taking you through the steps. Alright, and now we gotta get that other end attached back to the switch. So, to make room for myself, I'm getting that wire pushed back through. And this makes it a bit more stable. You can lay everything down and you can just get them lined up. You'll know that they're lined up, so when you press the soldering iron to it or soldering, it'll just heat up. You don't really want to be moving this around because you don't want to solder the two pieces together or anything like that, the positive and the negative. But get your hand comfortable, stable, press it down, and get it attached. Boom. And of course hold it there for a second so it cools down, hardens back up. And we're done. Now the nice thing, the wire's a bit long, so you have a lot of playroom there to get that slid back down. That's why we do that last. Alright. And then there's a section at the bottom of that orange piece to where the switch presses back down into. It's pretty blatant, so there you go. Now let's see if it works before we even put it back in. Okay. And boom, there we go. Not only does it work, but the switch works too, which is awesome. Alright, we are rocking. What's that? Alright, we're making sure it works again. And while you're doing this, just keep making sure it works. Because if anything goes wrong at any point, you'll know kind of what's wrong or what you need to work with from there on. So we got to press all the way back up. Batteries are in. Alright, now we're making sure it works inside. Before we screw it back in, the screws are just so small, you don't want to risk stripping them, screwing them in and out too many times, things like that. So, there we go. And just for comparison's sake, so you can see it is the same LED used. And the default heads, 3mm diodes are 3mm diodes, but so you see it side by side. There we go. Lights up just as much. Looks exactly the same. Can't tell them apart. Alright. And now I'm just doing some finagling. I'm putting the cap back on, the batteries, just to make sure there are no fitment issues or anything like that. Moving around the facial features and stuff like that. And just, like I said, making sure that the LED works at all times when it's on. Really giving it some play testing there. And again, and you can see how small these screws are for it, so. But they screw in and out really easy. You know, all things considered, this is something that you can literally do in 5 minutes, you know. Think about how long I've actually been doing this while talking you through it and trying to keep it on camera and stuff like that. It's not hard, it's just different for people who aren't used to soldering and things like that. It's not bad. Okay, and at this point, you know, we're checking it again. If it works at that point, you're done. You can turn off the video if you want. I'd appreciate it if you watch it for a minute or two more, but shit, you're good to go, man. All right, there you go. Again, we're testing it with the headpiece and things like that. You can see the 2 screws in there. Pretty small. Oh, and the NS hands and screwdriver. Ben's Shop of Delights, man. Look it up on Facebook. He's great. So I definitely enjoy working with him. Alright, and there you go. And one more comparison to the head. You can see exactly the same, exact same brightness. Both work with their switches. You're good to go. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully this helps everybody. Hopefully it only needs to help 1 or 2 people and this isn't a regular thing. But thank you guys for watching. KumaStyle.com. See you next time.